It's James Steinhubel, TVU. I'm with the Business Channel, and today we've got Abigail Danyk, who is with District 6. How are you doing today?
Great. Thanks,
Oh,
James.
excellent. It's great to see you, and looking forward to hearing what you're doing and what you're up to. And so, how are you handling this current reality that we're in, this COVID? Like, how's work going for you?
Right. Well, you know what? It was actually quite the transition for me because being that I am of the older generation, social media is not something that I have played with too much in the past, but because our company actually feels very strongly with regards to the fact of this thing that's going on right now that's very relevant to folks today, that it's not something that we should stop sharing with families or individuals. So we have gone virtual. And for me, not going to lie, the first week it was quite the gong show, trying to connect and learn how that all works. But it's been a few weeks and got the hang of it. And so we are, continuing to share some great stuff with people, and people are loving it, quite honestly.
Good, good. So just before we get into it, because you've got some really interesting information to share. Take about a minute and just describe, share with people where you've come from and what's brought you to where you are right now, so we can get a context.
Absolutely. So I come from the financial industry, actually. And so the financial industry is quite interesting because it entails making sure that you're properly insured, making sure that the money coming in is going in the right places so that later in future you're going to be okay, right? Or we work hard for our money today so that later on in life our money is looking after us when we need it.
Mhm.
So that's what I did for 12 years, Jim. And I loved it. I enjoy it today even. So built the business and passed it on to my husband because then he started working with me. And I passed it on to him because then I stumbled upon another company that does phenomenal things as far as what they have available for people and families, individuals today, that actually looks after them today, right? Because I had a client say to me, hey, this happened to me. And does what I have look after me? And I'm like, well, sort of, if you want to dip into your savings, but the insurance aspect of things did not. And so what I found was something that actually looks after people while they're in an accident today. Like, what happens if I don't know, fall in the snow or fall in the ice? That I had never seen. Actually, when I saw it, I thought, this is too good to be true. Why haven't I heard about it? And the reason I hadn't heard about it, because it's a company that's been around for 100 years. So how does a broker in the industry not hear about it? Is because they've been mainly in farming communities. Knocking on doors is how they market. So, I mean, what happens, Jim, when somebody knocks on your door?
Well, are you even home then, right?
Yeah. And and with what's going on today, nobody's answering the door.
Yes, yes,
It's kind
yes.
of like, back it up 6 feet, sir.
Exactly, exactly.
So, right. So that's mainly the reason well, that's why I hadn't heard about it. So when I did my due diligence and thought, I thought, wow, this is amazing. I want all in, but I couldn't do both. It had to be a focus on one or the other. So my husband thought, I'll take over the financial side and life insurance side of things, and I do what I'm doing now. So that's what I'm super excited about. And that's what brought me to where I am today.
That's good. That's good. And so, we were talking before. We went through the logistics of you sharing your screen, and you've got some PDFs or Evernotes to share. And
Yeah.
so, are you ready to discuss that?
Yeah, for sure,
Okay,
Jim. I
let's
mean,
let's
yeah, I'd
share,
love
let's
to do.
share your screen and let's bring it up, and then let's visit.
Sounds good. So we'll go right into that then.
There, it's coming.
All right, just let me know when you see my screen there, Jim.
Okay, I I see the screen. There's nothing on it yet, but here we go. Yeah, I'm good. We're ready to go.
Okay, beautiful. So basically, what I've done here is what I'm going to do really, Jim, is I'm going to go through the traditional industry, share a little bit about what I did there for 12 years.
Okay.
And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the benefits of what my company does and why I made the switch. And you'll see, quite truly the goodness of it all. Sound good?
Sounds good. Yes, I'm excited to
Okay.
hear.
So far right now, Jim, I've got on the screen, I've got life, critical illness, CI, LTD, WCB, EI, home and auto. You're seeing that right now?
I do, yes.
Okay, beautiful. So with that, I mean, when we take a look at, so all of those items there fall under the traditional insurance industry.
Mm-hmm.
I did that for 12 years. And Jim, life insurance pays out once because we die how many times?
Once.
Right. And critical illness, are you familiar at all with critical illness? Some are, some aren't. Are you?
Somewhat as it's attached to, plans that I have. I don't have a specific critical illness, but I think I've got an understanding of what it is.
Okay. So basically what critical illness does is it looks after things such as the main ones are cancer, heart attack, stroke, Alzheimer's. Okay. There's 26 usually that a company will cover. A good company will cover 26 different illnesses. Now, when I was a kid growing up, if a person got critical illness, Jim, that was pretty much a death sentence to them.
Yes.
Today, because of medical technology advancing, people actually get 2 or 3, 4 critical illnesses. The thing with critical illness is when a person gets it, it pays out once. So when they get it, that policy pays out and now they're no longer insurable. That's how critical illness works. Okay. Still good product because after all, I mean, it looks after a person while they're living, right? Life insurance looks after a person when they're gone. So basically kind of living behind either a legacy or just making sure that their family doesn't go to the poorhouse, so to speak. Mm-hmm. The long-term disability, usually there's a waiting period because that's what people can afford, usually 120 days, and then they get 66% of their paycheck. And then there's WCB that falls under that, employment insurance, and home and auto. So I did those things for 12 years. I actually quite loved it. I didn't deal with this WCB or EI. Home and auto was something that we farmed out as a referral program. But the rest I did and strongly believe in yet. What I do now doesn't replace any of that. What I do now is supplemental to that. So it adds to that because that's futuristic. What I do now is today. So the way that combined works is it pays on top of any other insurance, which means no coordination of benefits. So nothing is integrated. It means if I have another type of life insurance or another type of group insurance, whatever that pays, it doesn't matter with my company, it'll pay on top of that. It's not integrated. It's not like if one pays, the other will not. Mm-hmm. It will pay. Another thing that's beautiful is no tax deductions and tax-free money. Who likes tax-free money?
Anybody who gets it.
Anybody but the government.
Yeah. I'm sure even the
I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
Even the government workers like tax-free money. I assure you.
They do too, but yeah, they do too. So it's tax-free money. It covers to the age of 85, which is actually beautiful because most insurances, like the long-term disability, usually ends at age 65, critical illness at 75, and life 80, 85, depending on what a person's got. The other thing that's beautiful about this, it's unlimited claims. This was the hugest one. Unlimited claims, where life pays once, CI pays once. This is unlimited claims. And Jim, without penalties, stable premiums. Your premiums stay the same. You get something today, those premiums stay until you're 85 years old.
That's good.
Own occupation is something else that's a great benefit because own occupation in the industry can only be sold to doctors, lawyers, and accountants. So unless they have those designations, I could not sell them a disability product with own occupation. And why own occupation is huge is because it means that I can't be made to go do light duties or get another job with equal education and similar pay.
Mhm.
It just pays out. If I can't do my job, I sprained my wrist, I'm a waitress. I can't carry trays because I've got a sprained wrist, right? I might be able to still carry the trays, but not really because it'll put pressure and I won't heal properly. That's own occupation. It'll
Mhm.
pay out for me. And we've seen it done as well. So that's beautiful. Also, individual claims. These policies all come in individual claims or individual policies, pardon me, and family policies. The family policies are beautiful. Our company looks after families so well. They give them a big discount for family plans. All of our plans, Jim, are good in Canada and the US, and some are even worldwide.
Mhm.
So, with that being said, these are the benefits that I know does not exist in the traditional industry. So that's something I got very excited about because I knew my other product well.
Mhm.
So then with that, I just had to go and say, okay, well, what do you carry? Like, what are your policies? And I'm going to show you 3 different ones that are everybody's excited about. Okay.
Okay.
Alrighty. So with that, we move on to the outpatient accidents. The first one I'm going to show you. Jim, have you ever had or gotten stitches?
Yes.
Okay. So for those stitches, whether you got 1 stitch or 100 stitches, you would have been paid $1,000 for stitches.
Mhm.
What this policy also does is it pays $800 for physio. Now, a lot of people need physio, but most people will not go because of costs. So what
Right.
this policy does is it pays $40 a session, up to 20 a year. Okay. Plus, it also pays $200 medical appliance reimbursement. So if a person needs crutches or wheelchair, you have to put money out for that. $200 reimbursement for that. So that's our outpatient accident.
Mhm.
Next, I'm going to move on to our disability accident, okay?
Mhm.
The way that this works is a nice short-term disability that we have that turns into a nice long-ish disability. How it works is it pays $2,000 a month for a maximum of 6 months for complete disability. And it also pays partial disability, which is prorated. So meaning if a person's only needs to be off for a week or half of a month, 2 weeks, let's say,
Mhm.
then they wouldn't get the full $2,000. It would prorate to those days according to the month. Does that make sense?
It does. Yes.
Okay, beautiful. So with that, like I'll give you an example on that one. And the reason I said waitress earlier today is
Mhm.
because we did have a waitress who actually needed to claim. And Jim, all that happened was she went, she likes kickboxing as her extracurricular activity. After work, goes to the gym, kicks too high, falls on her hand and sprains her wrist. And
Mm.
she gets paid out for a sprained wrist because, like I said, back to own policy. She couldn't carry those trays properly anymore,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
the doctor says take a rest. So it paid her for a sprained wrist. That doesn't happen in the traditional industry that I have
No.
seen.
No.
Okay. The latest one is a good one. A oil field guy was working out in his gym in the basement because, of course, guess what? He can't go to the gym. So he, and this is another one on partial, he had to be off for a few days because he pulled a muscle on his back,
Mm.
in his back. Now, this is the beauty of this. When he got this policy, he was working. When he had to make a claim because he was laid off, he's not working. In the traditional industry, this would have never paid out because he's not working.
Mhm.
Guess what? It pays out with hours because he is underwritten at time of when he writes the policy or gets the
Right.
policy.
Okay.
When he needs to make a claim, doesn't matter if he's working or not, he gets paid out.
Nice. Nice.
Beautiful, exactly. Also, okay, you know how I said there's it's a short-term disability that turns into a nice long-term disability.
Mhm.
So with that, the way that that works is for every year that a person has this policy,
Yeah.
and a month is added to the maximum. So the first year is a maximum of 6 months. Then it goes into 7 months, like it says at the top there. Then it goes into 8 months, then 9 months. So up until it reaches a 24-month period, from then on, they can claim up to 24 months for any disability. And guess what? The premiums never change.
That's so good.
It's amazing. I like when I saw this, I don't know if I said it to you earlier, I thought it was too good to be true. So when people say that to me, I'm like, perfect. Yes, it is.
Yes.
And yes, it is. And the other thing that this, the other benefit, pardon me, that this has is a return of premium option. So should a person not get hurt, or they don't want to use this anymore, or they want to claim their money, or have 50% of their money returned to them, or 100% of their money returned to them.
Wow.
Yeah, so they have that option as well. That's our disability accident, Jim. The last one I'm going to show you is our hospitalization accident. The way that this one works is like this. If a person gets admitted to the hospital, now today we know that, people don't pay to go to the hospital in Canada. We're very blessed. We pay in other ways, but it's not something that we pay up front. This is covered by Alberta Healthcare. Anyways, all this money actually is in your pocket. All of this money that person receives tax-free in your pocket. Like I said, over here, it's tax-free money. But anyways, the way that this one pays out is $300 a day. If a person should spend any day in the hospital, for every day that they're in the hospital, they will receive $300 per day.
Wow.
The other thing, are you familiar with ICU?
Yes.
Hopefully you've never had to be there, because it's serious, right? That's a dangerous thing. Either you're going to make life or you're not. That's ICU. So with that, they pay a benefit of $1,200 for every day that a person is in ICU. Also, we know hospitals are not hotels. They want to shoo you out the door as soon as possible. So we know that, and we have a recovery benefit under this policy that says that we will pay you $300 a day to recover for a minimum of 10 days, or up to 3 times the stay in the hospital. And I'll give you an example of that, Jim, a little further up. The other thing that this covers is $600 a reimbursement. This is a reimbursement for ambulance. So you hear people, I took an ambulance and I got the bill. So here actually is a good example that I want to give you there, how our policies pay on top of any other insurance. It's like this. So this is a good example of it. I know a family whose child was jumping on a chair. The child was under 2 years old, fell on their head and out like a light. They had to call the ambulance. The ambulance came. By the time the ambulance came, all was well. But, they sent the child. They went to the hospital with the child anyway. When they got to the hospital, everything was okay. The family received a $385 bill for the ambulance ride. Daddy has group insurance, so they sent the bill to the group insurance. They pay the ambulance directly. Then they send the bill to our company, and guess what? They receive another check. They got paid twice. That's what I mean by our company pays on top of any other insurance when I refer back to the benefits of our products. Amazing. In other words, they made money. Whoever heard of an insurance, you make money off of insurance. That's when I saw this, it was just amazing to me how it actually works. So
there's wisdom in it, right? Having blanket flat rate payouts, it sort of limits, all the extra work that goes in that when there's a gradient scale, right? This is what we pay. And that, so that saves costs for the insurance company for sure. So
yeah, beautiful. Yeah. So, and the other thing that this does is it pays, because we know not everybody ends up in the hospital. Sometimes they're just there for a surgery because of an accident or a broken bone.
Mhm.
So we have an outpatient surgery or fracture recovery payout that pays $300 per day for a maximum of 14 days. So have you ever had a surgery or a fracture, Jim?
Um,
A broken bone?
I've never had a broken bone,
Okay.
and the only surgery that I had was to fix when I ran as a youngster. I ran into a barbed wire fence and I got a scar, and I had to go through some surgeries
Oh, wow.
to
Yeah.
repair
So
that.
guess what that would have paid you
300 a day.
for 14 days?
Yeah.
So 300 times 14 is $4,200. You would have received a $4,200 check.
Mm.
This is where it's amazing. Like, I don't know how old you were when that happened to you, but a lot of accidents happen to children. This is the thing right now. Like, generally, I was given advanced training to go into the Spanish community and serve them. But because of what's going on now, families are all home, the kids are all home, running around, getting hurt, getting into accidents, stuff happens.
Hmm.
This is why I'm getting together now with families more than ever, via Zoom, mind you, because of these little incidents that could potentially happen. And hey, why not get paid for it? Like a great example is while kids are in school, this one little guy went to 13, 14 years old, went on a field trip, on a skiing trip,
Hmm.
broke his thumb while skiing.
Mm.
Now, the parents got paid out $4,200 for that broken bone, but this is the beauty of it. The child had been wanting braces, but we know how expensive braces are today, right?
Hmm.
So, when they received that check for $4,200, he couldn't get his braces. The family couldn't afford it. Guess what they got him with that money?
Braces. That's so good.
Yes, sir. Isn't that beautiful?
It is. That's such a great story.
Yes. So, these are the kinds of things, because you can do whatever you want with this money. This is money in your pocket, right?
Hmm.
Because chances are, if a child gets hurt or if a parent gets hurt, let's say, they have to take time off work. So this is not about replacing income. This is actually about replacing loss of time.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what this is. So that's why actually a person does not need to be working to get any of these products, except for the disability. If they want to go the maximum, they do. But there is a minimum that they can get. If they're not even working, they can still apply for that, which is
Okay.
absolutely beautiful.
Hmm.
Yes.
Hmm.
And so with that, I just want to show you an example of what it would look like if a person spent one day in the hospital. So one day in the hospital, they'd be paid out $300 for the one day, and then the recovery. The recovery works like this: 10 days recovery minimum, right, for one day, or 3 times the stay. 3 times 1 is 3. 10 is greater. They get paid the greater of. So they would be paid out 10 days recovery, which is $3,000. So for one day in the hospital, Jim, $3,300 is what a family would get paid out for an individual being in there.
Mm. And you know what? That money comes in handy, right? Because others have to take time off work, or there's extra expenses in terms of kinds of food or
Yep.
extra little things, that
Y-
when people are recovering.
Absolutely.
That's
Mm,
it's an excellent plan. This is very
Yeah,
excellent.
exactly. And I just want to show you how the 3 times work. Like, do you know or heard of anybody who's been in the hospital for 5 days or more?
Yes, yes, for sure.
Okay, so let's take one of those examples, and let's take the least amount of days just for easy math sakes.
Okay.
How many days? Do
Uh,
you know?
well, 4 for one person and like
Oh,
7 for another. So,
okay, let's go with the 7, because
okay.
the multiplication will work well for that. So 7 days. Let's take 7 days. Did they spend any time in ICU?
Yes.
Okay, how many days in ICU?
Um, well, they basically just released them right out of ICU. It was just, I don't know, they went in and with an injury and spent a week there, and then when they were released, they went right from ICU out. So it was the whole time.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh wow. So they were 7 days in ICU.
yeah.
Okay, so let's do that one. 7 days in ICU. They would have actually got paid $300 for in the hospital, and then $1,200 for ICU. So it would be 7 times 1,500. Do you have a phone with a calculator readily?
That's 10,500.
$10,500 right there. Okay, so that would have been what they would have got paid for the stay in the hospital. Now the recovery, the way that it would have worked, it would have been 3 times 7, because they stayed 7 days in the hospital.
Yeah.
So 3 times 7 is 21.
Yeah.
So they would have been eligible for 21 days of recovery at $300 if the doctor had said, you go home and recover for, that looks like 3 weeks right there.
Wow.
So how long did they have to be home to recover? Do you know, Jim?
Well, I would say the full 2 weeks for sure. You know, there was
For
2 weeks.
the full 2 weeks, because they would have had full 3 weeks. But let's say they had to recover for 14 of those, because they were eligible for 21, but
Okay.
the doctor said 14 days. So 14 times 300, do you know what that is?
That's $4,200.
Yeah, $4,200. So 4,200 plus 10,500.
14,700.
Exactly right. So they would have been paid out $14,700. Do you think that would have helped out that family during that time?
Oh, definitely.
Right. So this is why, Jim, I went from the traditional industry to do this, because this protects people today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, we're not guaranteed what's going to happen to us out the door. I mean, I'm a spiritual woman and I believe in protection of God, but you know, things happen to people, good people, all the time.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's my that's the presentation. Actually, did you want to take a look at costs, or?
This is so this is what people are and what else do you have for people to look at? Like, this is what you show when you.
Yeah, this is exactly what I show.
Okay.
Of course, we've got for time's sake, this is what I show. And if people are interested in, they get right excited about this.
Yeah.
And once, this is done, then I go back a few months later and I show them other products. Like, we've got a cancer product. Before the coronavirus, we did have all of this available for sicknesses. And because they cover the coronavirus, isolation, everything, they took it off the shelf for us, because we didn't know how many people would actually be affected that need to go through the system. So we're waiting for that to happen, and then probably, and no doubt we'll be bringing that back again. But I mean, there's a cancer product that pays for radiation treatments and recovery that I had never seen.
Do you have that in a similar presentation?
I don't actually, Jim.
Okay.
No.
Okay. We'll take this off share screen so we can visit with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
That's very that's very interesting. So now, how do people get a hold of you?
So I through email or my phone number. I mean, I'm certainly not shy to hand out my phone number, because I
do business on it. So what's your number?
780-721 0759.
And what's your email?
Darren and Abigail at gmail.com. And that's DARREN.
Yeah.
AND and Abigail, ABIGAIL.
At Gmail.
At Gmail. Yeah. Exactly. Yes.
Is there anywhere they can go online to look at this presentation again that you had, or it's best to deal directly with you?
No, we don't actually have it online, because I mean, a person can go and have a look at that and it would make absolutely no sense to them.
No,
it's interesting. Yeah. I when I show it to an individual, I like to show it to couples actually, because I show it to one and they were like, yeah, I'm going to go show my spouse. And then they go to show their spouse, and the spouse will ask a question. They'll be like,
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know.
So tell me about the business opportunity side.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, obviously we're expanding, and the reason we're expanding is because we want to get this message out to everybody, because this is not, see, for me, I felt like what I was doing before, that was, that was looking after families, sure, but mainly I was looking for people that were 18 years of age or more. Here, I'm actually, I mean, accidents happen to a 2-year-old, they'll happen to a 69-year-old, right?
Hmm.
And that's the beauty of it. I can sell it to a 69-year-old and they can be covered until they're 85, right? I mean, that just doesn't happen in the industry. So that's the beauty of that. Um, Also, we are now expanding and wanting to get this message out, because it's been mainly in farming communities, and again marketed by knocking on doors. So today, the way that we're doing it is just like any other network marketing type business. We tell our friends, they tell two friends. I used to be standing in, say, McDonald's, and somebody behind me gives me a smile. I am going to talk to them about the opportunity, because I mean, people, it's quite amazing how many people are not very happy about where they work.
I understand. Well, they're not working anywhere right now. People are looking for
Well, today,
opportunity.
actually, they probably might be happy about anywhere, working anywhere,
Well,
but
and
just
a good opportunity. So
right.
how do people plug into this opportunity then?
So there is a two interview process that we go through, because obviously we want some quality people to go out and share the mission, and so there is a two interview process. There is some schooling that a person has to go through, and we do actually pay for that. We give actually an allowance for them to go to school. So we're looking for serious people that are that find the mission important enough to share with the world, and that's really where we want to go, is just take right over.
So you have a insurance license to sell this product?
You do have to have an ANS
Okay,
insurance.
that's good.
Yes.
That's good. That's good to know that it's
Hmm.
regulated and
Yes,
and
absolutely.
that's excellent. It's very exciting. And I think that people will be very interested as I am. Now, before I let you go,
Hmm.
uh, I do the same thing with everybody that I interview, and I ask them if there's anything that they'd like to share with our viewers and listeners that would be of assistance and helpful to people at this time.
I just want to say that, I mean, the biggest thing, I actually, when I first heard of it, I didn't know what to think, because it was so foreign to even think that something could touch the whole world. Like, we've never been through anything like this. And until it really touches home, you really don't know. Just like any huge accident, I guess you could say, or something big, and I didn't really see the impact that this actually is having on people until a friend in Ontario um, had it, and has it, and they had to be isolated from their babies, right? Three young babies, a husband, um, and just hearing what they had to go through, Jim, broke my heart, but at the same time made me rise up to phone several of friends and family and say, are you okay? And what can I do to help? So my biggest thing right now is phone people, communicate with people, and find out if they're okay, because people are not used to reaching out and asking for help. We're so much, we love helping people, but we're proud. We don't want to bother anybody. We're nice Canadians. We don't want to bother people, and we don't want to interfere in people's lives. So I say, pick up the phone, phone your family, make sure they're okay. Some of them are not, and that's what I found. And so in it, because of that, because of finding out that, I actually found some people that actually needed financial help. They needed food, and just somebody to say hi. I do know you're there, and if you need anything, give me a call. So this thing is real. It's real. It's so many people have lost jobs. There's so much fear out there. So I'm a spiritual woman, as I said earlier. So if you believe in anything, man, this is the time to just touch that. And the best way to make yourself feel better is to go out and encourage somebody else and share the love that's inside of you with somebody else, and that'll just make you feel better, and that just changes the world around you right away.
Abigail Danyk, District 6, Supplemental Insurance business person, a person of power and influence. It's been a delight and honor to have you. James Steinhubel, TVU Business Channel. Thank you, Abigail. We'll talk to you next time.
Thanks so much, James.